All right. This took a while. So I learned a few things. You got to use YouTube Live with Google Chrome and all this other browsers. Safari's, they don't work as well. But thanks for tuning in. I sent out a tweet last week and a LinkedIn post, actually this week, regarding sales enablement. Lots of executives, CIOs outside of healthcare, believe it or not, education, other industries have all been saying that they have been bombarded with emails and LinkedIn messages during a time of crisis. Now, on the other hand, I also saw a lot of great vendors who are promoting products, who are offering services, who are also offering support for organizations during this time of need. So it's a catch 22. My goal today is to be able to answer any questions that you guys may have. So I will scroll through the comments to go through some of the questions that you guys post in real time, and I will just talk through what's on my mind. But it is tough right now. I get it, especially if you're in the sales world, you're trying to create pipelines, you're trying to create the entire pipeline for 2020, but at the same time, we're dealing with crisis and people are not responding. So lots of anxiety and lots of fears. So let's go through it. Let's see. What's the first question that's on here? Yeah, ask away. I haven't seen any questions, but I'm glad you guys are talking to each other in terms of where you guys are from. Um, ask if first question come in, please talk about the types of organization. You don't have to name who you are with, but just so I get a good feel for the types of product and types of services that you guys are offering. And what's funny, I received the email yesterday. It was obviously an automated email. And these automated messages just really even have my name incorrect. So if you're going to send out an automated blast, number one, make sure you have the person's name correct. And then make sure you're offering something of value, because we could spot these automated campaigns really easily, especially if the name is incorrect in terms of who the email is addressed to. All right, first question from Steve. What are some of the top challenges that relates to technology? Well, here's the focus. Every organization is trying to scale out. They're trying to support remote workers, and they probably have some infrastructure to begin with, some bad infrastructure. So think about how you can help them scale out. From a healthcare perspective, I believe most folks may be in the healthcare vertical. Telemedicine is number two. So scaling out infrastructure and supporting telemedicine, these are the only two things that healthcare CIOs are looking for. And talking to my other peers from other industries, definitely infrastructure as a service, VD as a service, those are top of mind. So help organizations scale out. But it's going to be tough. If it's a new product or if it's something that the organization does not have, they probably do not have time to implement something new at this point. So where no one's innovating, no one's looking at anything new that's not in the portfolio. What is a good example that you have seen from the external partner and how they have authentically connected with you? So I would say this is a tough one. I'm pretty open in terms of learning from every email or every message that I get. I usually respond back whether I'm interested or not. I would say provide value. It's not about here's what we offer, but do a little bit research before you send out any message. For example, let's just say you're looking at something to offer to my organization or my profile. Go on Google, do a quick research about things that are top of mind for me, things that I have been talking about for the last 2 months, 6 months, and then provide some guidance in terms of how you could augment and provide additional service to help me achieve my goals. So those are the ways that I have seen lots of folks engage authentically, but also don't come off with a sales pitch right away. Don't add me on LinkedIn after I accept and send out another follow-up in terms of here's what we have to offer. Can we talk for 10, 15 minutes? Doesn't work too well, obviously. So it's a fine line. You have to play the long game because the reality is executives go on to new roles. You guys in the sales world also go on to new roles. So establishing those long-term relationships is going to go a long way. There's no secret sauce, but I would say take your time in terms of the follow-up. Do not follow up quickly with a sales pitch and any related context after someone connects with you. Let's see. I mentioned vendors stepping up to offer help. What's actually helpful right now? Services. People give away free products, but they can't implement it. So are you giving away free services? Now, I get it. We're asking to people, and from a vendor's perspective, to give away a lot, but that's what's needed, services. A couple of folks from security, we're in the pen testing, monitoring security folks. Great to have you guys. It's a big market, obviously with the virus situation. IT security is top of mind and often overlooked due to the fact that people are deploying solutions quickly. They're trying to scale fast, so security is sort of an afterthought at times, but I'm always emphasizing to my peers to never lose sight of that. Let's see. Healthcare ERP, definitely top of mind. Major trend for the next 2 to 3 years. So we're starting to see lots of organizations look at cloud ERP providers, and definitely it's going to be top of mind. So that is, these enterprise systems do take a long time. So you're going to have to navigate all the various stakeholders from accounting, HR, finance, and supply chain in terms of delivering value. So definitely that's a hot trend. So great space to be, actually. Let's see. Curious about healthcare focus right now. Tell me more about what you're asking, Michael. Let's see. Advisory firms, we have, how do we navigate empathy and drive value for our funnel? Now, there's a lot of risk in this question because we're going to be asking a lot of companies to work out risk, meaning can you provide services free of charge at this point and take an IOU for later. There's got to be a lot of trust in that relationship for any vendor to give those away. So I do foresee a lot of those relationships happening. I am hearing a lot of those services that's being offered, but it is a risk factor because there's no guarantee that even your clients may be afloat in the next 6 months in terms of staying business or staying relevant. And if there's no contract, what if they don't pay you? But so there's that trust factor. I don't see anyone really coming in that's going to screw any good faith, but it's always, there's no guarantee. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. How do I feel about leading with products versus leading with services? Pros and cons from where I sit. It's hard to lead with products. Is it a product that we already have in place? Is it something that's easy to implement? Let's just say I don't have the product in place. Are you asking me to spend the next 30 to 60 days, go through a proof of concept or implement that in real time during taking on a risk of maybe breaking something else? Anytime you're implementing new products, something will break. So which is why services is crucial. But there's a fear factor from the executives who are in the decision-making seat who are buying products. They're not buying it because they don't want to break something new during this time of crisis. So it's tough. Let's see. What types of intelligence spend tool do you have in place for looking at or to reduce costs? Give me some examples, maybe, so I could get a good feel, Steve. So people, yes, everyone's got some sort of spreadsheet or some sort of automated tools in terms of looking at IT as a business. So I think that's the question. Yeah, Apptio, very expensive product too, but it works. Not that I am endorsing them, but I've seen the product. I've seen my peers use it. They went through a nice big exit round, so high valuation. But yeah, running IT as a business is crucial. But I would say it's something not every organization of depends on your size. If you're not that big, Apptio is probably not going to fit. What does good look like? I don't know what that means. Unlocking value in your spend, data leverage, ML. Yeah, I mean, you're looking at predicting what the future spend may be like, but the challenge, Steve, is not everyone has historical data. So you're going to have to spend a lot of work providing resources. I know folks provide resources to get the historical data to upload to the tool, but at the same time, as of right now, it's not a priority. But definitely running IT as a business is top of mind, not for every CIO, but for the good ones. I think that's where the tool comes in handy. Do I predict COVID-19 will delay health systems coming to market for ERP, CRM? And so how long is the potential delay? So a lot of mature players already in the market for ERP, CRM. ERP, I could probably only name 3 or 4 players in healthcare. On the provider side, CRM, there are a few large players and a lot of niche players. But I would definitely, this will impact the delay for implementation, right? ERP, CRM systems are not a few $100,000s in terms of cost from a software and implementation standpoint. So these are multi-million-dollar initiatives. Some are going to require a lot of years for implementation, requires a lot of stakeholders involvement from a committee perspective. So definitely a delay in terms of implementation for those enterprise softwares. So if you're providing those softwares, I do expect a contract delay. May not be even this year. Typical contract turnaround for healthcare providers range from 9 to 18 months. So these things do get complicated in terms of procurement, especially if you're dealing with academic medical centers that are state regulated, where they have procurement guidelines that's regulated by the government. So yes, definitely a potential delay. If your solution does not address a problem concerning COVID, should you not reach out to a decision maker at this time? If no, how do you know when it's okay to resume regular activity? Yes, because every solution right now can be used to address COVID. Think through if you have think through whether the organization needs your solution at this time. If not, I would say let's try to stay quiet for now, provide educational resources that hopefully the decision maker may read on their spare time. But definitely, if it's not COVID related, it's not going to be top of mind. I actually saw a note from a few friends of mine, my peers, who actually are on the verge because they're so ticked off. They want to blacklist vendors who bother them. So don't be on that list. Just be cautious. I'm not saying everyone's doing that, but just be aware and think through your tactics. It is tough. I do feel the pain. If a vendor offered complimentary services now, would that drive your purchase decision in the future, or would you follow your normal procurement process? Would I follow the normal procurement process? So these procurement processes are not dictated by the decision maker. They're probably guidelines by the organization. So even if you offer free services, an organization takes advantage of it, there's going to be a procurement that needs to happen post COVID. So I would foresee the organization acting in good faith and making sure that payments are being made or somehow a transaction does occur, but it will have to follow the normal process. People are making exceptions, but I would say at the end of the day, there will be a check and balance to make sure guidelines are followed. The last thing you want to see is a decision maker who acts on the good faith but fails to follow compliance guidelines and then gets fired because they failed to follow guidelines. So not to say that's going to happen right now, but it could be a checkbox that the organization goes through in terms of non-compliance. So it could be something that could be definitely harm the decision maker. If you were in our seat, what approach would you take? You referenced adding value, but what medium would you use to get in front of stakeholders? Cold call, emails, handwritten notes? Handwritten notes actually may work pretty well these days. I remember when I received the handwritten notes, I was pretty surprised just because I haven't seen one in a while. But now, think like a marketer. You really have to use your digital channels in terms of sending the message out there. I'm seeing lots of organizations utilize thought leaders to promote and push out content from an education perspective. So you need to act like a marketing person now. So it's not just about sales enablement, it's about adding sales to marketing. So look at all the marketing tips that brands go through. That's probably something to think through, and that's going to be a shift in how you deliver value. But think about how you could create something, whether it's a written piece or even a video piece that a decision maker is going to watch. I would say company use me a lot for that, just because of the audience, and they know that I'm really putting out quality content. So that may be an avenue where partnering together to produce content. But I would say definitely tap into the digital media in addition to what's written traditionally, whether it's blog or white papers, to get things out there on the market. Let's see. It is still in process. My perspective on the stimulus bill that it is on a table for Senate or Congress, and how will it impact the hospital or financial status. So what I saw is that there's $100 million, I believe, dedicated to hospitals. Now, I'm not sure if that is enough. I think it's 100 or 100 billion. Probably it'd be more accurate. But is that enough? I don't know. There's a run rate for typical hospitals that's of scale, $20 to $40 million daily. That's their run rate. That's how much money they're losing right now due to treating COVID patients. So imagine that being spread out for every hospital system. And these are the major ones. I think where my big concern is the rural hospitals. So I think one thing that you guys can think about is, how do you help these rural hospitals who do not have the resources, whether it's talent, money, or capabilities to implement a solution that's critical right now for COVID. So that may be an area of target. Obviously, it's not going to be the big contracts that everyone looks for, but think about how you can help the smaller players in terms of delivering value. But yes, I do foresee the stimulus hopefully helping from a gap perspective, but it is definitely going to hit IT spending. If you think about just from a budget perspective, one of the largest budget holders in the hospital is IT. So during time of crisis, or during time where they need cash, the capital investments from IT will definitely stop. So it'll take time to figure out what is that reshuffling of priorities for organizations. And that's where we don't know yet. All right, let's see. Got most of the questions. Lots of folks talking about content. Yes, content is key. Unique content, I would say that's the key. I see a lot of duplication in terms of content. Every time I talk to a vendor in terms of their market space, which if it's very crowded, I usually ask, what is that differentiator? And it has to be a big key differentiator. So if it sounds very similar to your competition, then the value's not there. So think through that pitch, think through what that would look like. And it's hard, it's not easy. Let's see what else we got here. Let me scroll back to the notes while you guys are typing away. Yeah, I will say overall, there's a lot of good people in healthcare IT. There's a lot of good people in the world. Take the time to help each other. I would say I empathize with everyone and your role and what you're going through. People are trying to figure out how they could sustain financially, how they could support their families. Hopefully everyone's safe. But yeah, this is a time where everyone needs to come together. So, which is why I'm asking the community to come together, figure out how you can help each other. And it's going to be crucial for us moving forward. I was telling someone this recently, that I saw this 2 months ago, just because I work internationally, helping a healthcare organization in Asia. So I saw the lockdown happen 2 months ago, and I saw that how it impacted people's lives. And now we're going through it here in the US. So hopefully we stick to the social distancing. Hopefully we stick to the lockdown. Hopefully we are able to bend that curve, but it's not going to happen in a few weeks. My gut tells me it may be longer here versus Asia, just because we're not as vigilant. We're not able to quarantine and isolate as easily as other countries. All right, if NBA comes back, who's going to win a championship? My team is the Clippers. Been a season ticket holder fan for like almost 20 years. And what's sad is every time they're on a good track, something happens. So I don't know. I'm going to say the Clippers, but Lakers are good as well. The Bucks, but it'll be interesting. I wish the season started, but unfortunately not. All right. If I could show you money and opportunity to save money on your indirect IT spend in 2 days, would that be valuable? It would be, but how much time is it going to require? What if the decision maker there's just so inundated with stuff that they just do not have time to think about anything other than COVID. People are working 14 hours. By the time they get home, they're just trying to wind down, get some rest, get a decent meal, and then start the day over. So, these hospitals are really in crisis mode at this point. Maybe other verticals may have an appetite, but I would say for healthcare verticals, it is really crisis moment where people they're just working 24/7 almost. Infrastructure as a service, support that service can take a while to stand up. How can we help expedite? I talked about this with a few other decision makers, and I was hinting at, can you take advantage of these resources? The challenge is, let's just say you provide free resources to go through the traditional hospital requirements of BAA, even getting employee authorizations. Unfortunately, that just takes a lot longer. So find a way to be able to get on a hospital's radar in terms of approved vendors, because if you are not an approved vendor right now, without the required documents, it is very hard for anyone to take on these services. So hopefully you guys are on the list, but if not, I would say make the effort now to work on getting to be an approved vendor for hospitals in the next 6 to 8 months, because that will make transaction a lot easier. What are your thoughts on offering discounts or extended payment terms? It is helpful. Just make sure it's a product that they're using or a product that's going to be really insightful and provide a advantage for the organization. So definitely it is helpful. I know people, here's the challenge. If you offer a discount, let's just say, 80% off list, but you want an 8-year agreement, it's going to be tough for any organization to sign up for that. So it's, decision makers want the 80% off with a 2 to 3 year agreement, which we have to find the balance because on the vendor space, you need to have a solid run rate to make up for the discount. So I get it, but it's a tough sell right now in terms of what that benchmark would look like. But think about how you can meet in the medium, meet in the middle. So you mentioned sales pitches during this crisis. Can you give some guidance on finding the right tone and approach? Just be authentic. Just talk about how you're here to provide value. Share a story about what you have done with another client. It can't be a long novel. Make sure you don't write these long emails. Something that could describe a story in 30 to 40 seconds. So try to keep it very short, I would say, because like me, the attention span for a healthcare executive decision maker is very short. So if I do not get the message in 30 to 45 seconds, I'm probably not going to read anymore after that. So try to keep it short and sweet and get to the point. Let's see what else is there coming up. Yeah, I think went through most of the questions. I'll give it a few more minutes to see whether there are any more. But I think this is also valuable to hear the community in terms of partners and what the challenges are, because at the end of the day, innovation is going to require partnerships. Most hospital organizations are not they don't have the talent in-house to create these innovation or create these solutions. So they do have to rely on partnerships. And it's important that you are viewed as a partner versus a transaction. And that's the only way for healthcare to really innovate. All right, doesn't look like there's anything else. All right, very good. So, connect with me on LinkedIn, connect with me on Twitter. I'll give you my Twitter handle in the comment section. I think most of you guys are connected with me on LinkedIn. So, I'll throw out things here and there. And then if you guys want to have another session where we could just chat, or we could do a video where people jump in. It may be hard to jump in with 25 26 viewers, but we'll figure out something moving forward. But let's see. Yes, sales training tells us personalized outreach is critical. Definitely, it is critical. I help a lot of organizations with sales enablement, and that's really focusing on helping you target the right clientele and really help you focus on what their needs are. Obviously, you have some insights that can be really helpful in terms of where targeted accounts, and think about how you can map those out. That's something that's going to be crucial. All right, guys. Looking forward to connecting. Stay safe. Hopefully, you guys are all doing the social distancing, and we'll talk soon. Take care, guys.